This video is all about whether or not other Commander players think that you're cringe. And more specifically, it's about what types of things people don't like experiencing in their Commander games. The cards, play patterns and behaviors that could cause people to try to escape their next game with you if you're an offender. So in short, watch this to make sure that you're not cringe. Now, I have lots of opinions about what makes a good Commander player, but I wanted this to be a lot more objective. So I asked 100 other Commander players what they think instead. And to learn what people thought was the most cringe of all the things, I asked two key questions. The first, a binary question allowing only one answer, to force people to choose the thing that they encountered that most frustrated them when playing Commander. And then the same question, but allowing people to list all the things that they don't like. That way, we could create a super mega skibbity Ohio cringe tier list. And we will get to that tier list and a fun minigame in a minute. First, let's look at the most common things that frustrated people. I'll talk about these in more detail as I reveal the biggest offenders, but none of these things should surprise you. There are very common things that frustrate people, from rules lawyering, to yapping too much, to being too casual, to being outright rude. Now let's play a game. Pause if needed, and choose the top 5 things from that list that you think people would have found the most frustrating or cringe. Compare it to the results, and let me know in the comments at the end how you did. Okay, so let's look at the binary answers first. Those are people had to decide on only one choice of what they thought was the most cringe thing to deal with in Commander. Coming in 5th place with 8% of the vote was people that drag the game out and don't progress the game towards an end. This one surprised me a little. I knew I hated games that go far too long, but I didn't think this would rank as highly over a lot of the other things on this list. I think this is partly because people that drag the game out are often chaos artists, and they do so in very annoying ways, be that chaos effects like Warp World or Scrambleverse, or strong stats effects like Static Orb. But I also think that in general, when a game has gone too long, most people would probably just prefer that it ends, rather than extending an already painful or boring experience. Obviously, if the long game is a real banger, then that won't be the case, but I'm willing to bet that fun generally decreases as game time increases. Okay, coming in 4th place with 10% of the vote was people that deliberately hide the power of their deck or win conditions to get an advantage. This one didn't surprise me at all, because people don't like feeling cheated, especially in a social format that isn't supposed to be win at all costs. Someone coming into a game and unfairly stacking the odds in their favor betrays the social contract of the format. I think something to be aware of here is that many people will think that if no one specifically asks them about their deck, that they're in the clear and don't have to divulge things. But then surprise surprise, the table's annoyed when that person combos out of nowhere with a win that no one knew that they had. It's far better to over-communicate than under-communicate, and if one sees this as a problem, then maybe one has some thinking to do. Coming in 3rd place with 11% of the vote was people who play very slowly or take very long turns. With the exception of brand new players, I think there are 3 things at play here. There are those that take very long turns because they're doing something like Storm or Infinite Shenanigans. Then there's those that have managed to stunlock themselves by simply having way too much on the board. And lastly, there's those that aren't thinking ahead in the game. When it's not their turn or priority, they're mentally checking out until things roll back to them. Occasionally, we're all offenders here, but I do think that if you find yourself in situations like this somewhat regularly, that you should identify what's causing it and either cut that deck or work on speeding up. Coming in 2nd place with 13% of the vote was people that cared too much about winning, either via attitude or actions, like lying or cheating. This comes down to the social contract of the format again, and that's why it ranks so highly. People tend to want to play Commander to do fun things and have social experiences. Someone that's hyper-focused on winning tends to just ruin the vibe, especially if it's to the point that one is getting heated, lying, or cheating. While very few of us go that far, I do think there's a grayer area here where I see people getting a little salty in relation to not winning. Given how highly this ranks on this list, it's probably worth keeping an eye on that. If you want to guarantee that you'll never be cringe, eat yourself at the sub and bell buttons. According to science, 8 out of 10 of you watching this right now aren't subbed. I'd like to be Australia's biggest magic creator and mega internet superstar frog, so that I can get out there and do cool magic shit at magic cons in the US and Europe. Word on the street is, I have to get to about 100,000 subs to make that happen. That's a bloody mountain, mate, so if you vibe with this, you can be the reason that happens. Okay, coming in 1st place, and the most cringe, with 30% of the vote, was people who are rude. I think this was always going to come out as the top frustration, But what I think is interesting here is the grey area on what rudeness means. There's obvious things like getting heated, arguing, or raising one's voice, but I think we should be far more aware of, and try to avoid, how rudeness ties back to the other areas of frustration in this list. Because someone not paying attention to the game and being distracted can be seen as rude, and that's interchangeable with the other frustrations, like not letting someone take back a play or holding a grudge. At the end of the day, anything that violates the social contract that we have in Commander could be seen as rude, and that's completely independent of the power or the cards in our decks. Now let's take a look at the more balanced answers where people shared all the areas that frustrated them instead. Because interestingly, there are some differences, and I actually think this is far more relevant for your average Commander game. Coming in 5th place, with 52% of the vote, was people that complain when getting attacked or targeted. Every now and again, all of us can suffer from the world's smallest guy syndrome, where we're desperate to tell the table 10 reasons why they shouldn't attack or target us. But what no one likes, and I say this with love, is someone being a little about a piece of cardboard coming in their direction. Like many of the other frustrations, it goes against the social contract we've all signed by sitting down, and in my experience, the people that overly complain about being attacked or their stuff being targeted are the same ones that care a little bit too much about winning, and it's already clear that people don't like that very much either. Coming in 4th place, with 57% of the vote, was people that aren't paying attention to the game and who are distracted on their phone or conversation, etc. None of us like our time being wasted or disrespected, and if someone's not actively engaged with the game and the people around them, that spot could have gone to someone who actually wanted to play the game properly. Okay, those were the differences, and the top 3 mirrors the previous list. Coming in 3rd place, with 66% of the vote, was people that cared too much about winning. In 2nd, with 67% of the vote, we had people that deliberately hide the power of their deck or win conditions. And again, coming in 1st place, with 77% of the vote, was, as they say in Australia, rude. I think a key takeaway here is that all 5 of these frustrations have over 50% representation with the people I asked. That's half of every pod you play in, going up to 3 out of 4 people for general rudeness. I often see an argument made by people saying, well, you can't please everyone, so just do what makes you happy. While there's some truth to that, and while we're all different, with different likes and dislikes, I think it's safe to say that if we want to have a good time playing in this social format, that we should keep an eye on these frustrations, given their prevalence. Unless you want to end up cringe. If you haven't already, tap the sub and bell buttons so I can become a mega internet superstar frog, and tell me in the comments how many you got right, or if there are other things that you find cringe that weren't in this list. And if you have friends that you play with that have some cringe behaviors, hopefully this video acts as a tool that you can use to nudge them towards being a based gamer. Okay, I love you, bye.